Hi, and welcome to the 11th tale in a series of transformative tales by myself, Anna the Wolfe. And today we find you still resting at the top of a plateau, having just spent a lovely afternoon with bear, boar, and stag. And as you're relaxing with them, you hear the sound of a chase and all sorts of brush moving, and a coyote comes erupting off the opposite shore and goes flying after what appears to be a muskrat down the shore. The muskrat is like, oh man, going as fast as he can. And then another coyote shoots out, and another, and it's an entire pack, and they're hunting. It must be about time for their evening feast. And you watch as they go in their most beautiful pack formation, cheering each other on and high-fiving, and they've just got the most magnificent glossy coats you've ever seen. They're plush, and they're shades of rust and tan and chocolate, and it's just a glorious pack of coyotes. And they're moving all together as one, but they're quite distinctly separate. And they catch their dinner and they all share it. And you sit kind of on the outskirts and just listen to their conversation. And everyone says, wow, I can't believe we managed to get a muskrat tonight. That was amazing. It was really great. Thank goodness we've got such a great tracker. Hey, where's our tracker? There she is. It's Poppy. Hey, Poppy, thanks. You are so good at tracking. What a sniffer you've got. We just are the glossiest, most beautiful pack going because of you. Poppy was like, yeah, I've been tracking for years. It's my favorite thing to do. And so they all end up falling asleep, eventually quite full and satisfied. And the next day, you wander off with them again. And everyone turns to Poppy and says, hey, what's on the menu today, Poppy? Poppy's like, let me catch the wind. Yeah, you know what we're having today? We're having hare. Let's go get us a rabbit. And everybody's like, yeah, rabbit. And so they all go running off together, jumping in and out of the sagebrush and over clumps of grass. And they find some tracks, and Poppy's got her nose down, and she's just leading the entire pack. And they all catch up, and she's like, we've almost got it. And it's a locust. She goes, whoa, hey guys, it's actually a locust. Sorry. Don't know what's wrong with my sniffer today, but I thought it was a hare, but it was a locust. And so a couple of the pack members kind of start snickering, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, well, what's next? You want to have some beetles? Yeah, yum. So anyhow, she starts feeling a little defeated by the banter, where they thought it was good natured, but she really started to feel pretty bad about having missed the scent. And everybody was hungry that night. And the following night, everyone says, okay, what's for dinner tonight? And Poppy smells the air, and she says, you know what? I think I smell a goat. And everybody says, did you hear something? I didn't hear anything. Poppy said, no, I'm serious. I smelled a goat. It smelled like maybe it was old and struggling. It should be pretty easy for us to get. And the rest of the pack ignores her, as though she hadn't said anything at all. And they go on, and they capture some other prey that night. And Poppy thinks, I could have had a really great goat tonight, but because everybody else was so insistent that they couldn't even hear me, well, I guess I'll just curl up on the outside of the pack. As the days went on, it became evident that no one could hear Poppy's voice at all. When she howled and she said she was hungry, no one responded. When she said she was thirsty, no one made a diversion to the creek. And she became a little sad, actually, because she'd been a really good tracker all these years and she'd only made a couple little mistakes. We all take tracks that aren't particularly fruitful from time to time, but it seemed like people stopped listening to Poppy. So she went off to the pond by herself to collect her thoughts. And while she was down there, she was feeling low, and with her paws just started to kind of draw with her claw back and forth in the mud. And she realized it was a little sticky. Maybe she could write her name. And in her fanciest script, she wrote Poppy. It's like, wow, there's my name. And in the shore. What a beautiful name I have. I really, really had a good mother to give me a name like Poppy. And then she thought, this sticky mud. I wonder what else I could make in it. She clawed it up and scooped up a ball of it and fashioned out of it her happiest memory. Her running in the moonlight. And so she made a round sphere, and she made a little Poppy running with a big sphere over it to represent the moon. And she looked at it and it made her smile. She just thought, that's me, doing my thing, running in the moonlight on full scent. Look at me go. And she sat the little clay figurine down on the bank, and she stepped back and she thought, with a little bit of sorrow, I have to leave that memory right here on the bank. And she pulled the reeds back behind it, and she walked back off and curled up on the outskirts of her pack and went to sleep. The next day, something similar happened. She went back and she found herself back on the shore, creating another wonderful clay creation. And this time she thought of something that brought her so much joy, and it was her prancing. And so she made another little figurine of her prancing. And after she left, Bullfrog came up, and he just smiled when he saw those. He knew that she'd left them there, so he just admired them. He thought, wow, what's it like to prance? And he just stood up and pranced back and forth along the shore, and it just made him smile. It made him so happy. Every day, Poppy came back and made a new figurine until there was an entire menagerie of prancing, chasing, howling, all of her most favorite things to do. And every night after she left, Frog came out, and then Duck came out, and they tried out all of her different moves. They tried prancing, and they tried making howls and quacks and ribbits as loud as they could. They imitated whatever she left on the shore, and it just made them so happy. But they didn't come out till after she left because they wanted to really honor her process. And then eventually the entire pond was in on it. As soon as Poppy left and had pulled the reeds back, they came flying out, paddling over to look at what was next for their game that night. And everybody was in on it except Poppy. And then one night, Poppy came to the shore, and she had in her mind what was going to bring her the most joy that evening to fashion. And the entire pond was there. There was a duck, there was bullfrog, there was a carp, there was a beaver, a muskrat. They were all there. They're like, come on, Poppy, what are we doing tonight? And she said, what do you mean, what are we doing? And they said, we can't wait to see. What are you going to have us do? We can't wait to join you. And Poppy just looked back in amazement. She says, you can hear me? They're like, not only can we hear you, we can see you. And we can see who you imagine yourself to be. And we want to be there with you. Please, what are you making tonight? And Poppy just looked at them all and said, oh, hold on, let me get my clay. She worked and she worked and she got her claws and she pulled everything out just right. And she made a figurine of a coyote standing on its hind legs with its arms stretched out in both directions, and her claws kind of curved, and one foot up and a tail back as though it was balancing on its tail. They said, "What on earth are you doing there? How do we do that move?" And she said, "Just like this." And she grabbed Frog's webbed foot on one side, and she grabbed Beaver's webbed foot on the other. She said, "Now you grab the paw, claw, or fin of the guy next to you, and we make a circle, and we're just going to dance in a circle as the moon comes up. We're just going to dance. That's what we're going to do." And everybody said, "Yeah, Poppy, that's a great idea." And they all danced in a circle. And now that she had her voice back, she started singing, and they were singing and dancing and all around in a circle, and everybody could hear it, even her own pack. And they came back and they said, "Poppy, what are you doing down here? I didn't know tonight was festival night." And she said, "It could be. Get in here." And they all came in and danced with her, and it was a huge circle, and they spent the entire evening dancing. And Poppy was so excited and so filled with joy. Not only did she have her voice back, she had a brand new howl. And she tilted her head back and let loose with the most amazing howl. And the entire pack tipped their heads back, and it was a unified howl. I hope you enjoyed this story by myself, Anna the Wolfe. If you have, I would appreciate it if you'd give it a thumbs up, a like, maybe share or subscribe. And I really hope that you find a way to bring voice back into your world with whatever joy looks like to you. And I'm wishing you the happiest howling evening. Goodbye.